Protecting and managing Minnesota's wealth of natural resources, the land, water, fish, and wildlife, is the role of the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. In January, Governor Tim Walz appointed the first woman to lead this agency, and Commissioner Sarah Strommen joins me now to talk about the accomplishments and challenges facing the DNR. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
So prior to becoming commissioner, you were assistant commissioner, meaning that you came to this position with a richer understanding of some of the challenges facing the DNR. Broadly speaking, how are our natural resources faring right now?
You know, in many ways, I think our resources are doing well. We have a really robust base of public lands, you know, from state parks to wildlife areas to lakes and rivers. You know, we're continuing to add to those to create more opportunities and more habitat. We have a really engaged constituency all across Minnesota. People are very passionate about their natural resources. And, you know, also in Minnesota, we're really fortunate to have some funding resources like the lottery proceeds, the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund and the legacy funds. But, you know, there's still challenges. And we're still, you know, working on issues like chronic wasting disease that's threatening our deer, invasive species, both terrestrial and aquatic. We're still losing habitat, particularly in our grasslands and our wetlands. And climate change is going to be a long-term issue. So those are many of the challenges that we'll be working on over the next 4 years.
And a few of those I want to touch on in greater detail. But before we get there, I want to talk about recently to Minnesota Public Radio, you said that you're committed to connecting more people to the outdoors. And you spoke about how passionate Minnesotans are about their outdoors anyway, but including adding Wi-Fi to campgrounds and increasing accessibility for those with disabilities. But how do we balance, you know, increasing the access to our parks without having them be loved to death, as has been noted in our national parks?
Right, and so part of the reason that I feel that connecting people to the outdoors is so important is, you know, first of all, it's really important for the long-term relevancy of our natural resources. People care about those things that they have personal experience with, and so having that personal experience in the outdoors is really important. It's also a really big component of our economy in Minnesota, and our natural resources and our outdoor opportunities also are really important to the prosperity of communities all across the state. And then, of course, there's our own individual health and wellness. You know, we just feel better when we get that time outdoors. And so to get more people outside, I use those examples of Wi-Fi and campgrounds and making places more accessible as a reminder that this isn't just about marketing experiences and certain sets of values to new audiences. It's also about thinking about the experiences and values that those people we want to have those experiences, you know, are seeking. And so it isn't going to be every park that has Wi-Fi. It isn't going to be every corner of every park that's accessible, but it is important to give people with disabilities that whole park experience, not just the visitor center, but a trail or, you know, some kind of park experience. And so those are really just examples to kind of challenge our thinking. Really, though, it is important. Part of our mission is to protect and conserve. And so I think one of the things, you know, we'll be cautious of and evaluate our proposals, and we hear them sometimes. Well, if we just reduce restrictions, we just reduce our regulations, we open that up, that'll reduce barriers and get more people outside. And that may or may not be true. You know, I think that the choices we make are data-driven. We know there are things that are likely to reduce barriers and get more people outside. We don't want to just follow every idea that may or may not get people outside and actually may have an impact on our resources.
Well, and speaking of getting people outside, Minnesota has a rich heritage of outdoorsmanship, but it's been historically male outdoorsmanship. The DNR has had programs for many years to teach women about archery and fishing and hunting. But we also have growing diversity among our youth. So what is the DNR doing to reach out to those people who don't have this tradition and build this next generation of people who will love their parks?
Yeah, well, one of the things we're doing is we have a great program called I Can, and it's a skill building program. And so we have I Can Fish, I Can Camp, I Can Paddle. And these programs are aimed not only at kids, but really at families. So, you know, if you are a family, particularly a family that may not have camping or fishing in your experience, it's a way to go, you know, in a safe space with instructors. The equipment is provided. Take your family and experience that with other families and instructors, you know, who can help you through that. So that's been a great program. We've been doing that for 10 years. A lot of the efforts of that are aimed at multicultural communities and getting new folks engaged in the outdoors. We also have a diversity of education programs that are aimed at kids and often school groups. So we have Minocqua program, which is a aquatic habitat and fishing education program. We have a school forest program. And so there are a variety of ways that we're aiming at kids and families, because of course, you know, families that spend time outdoors together, we think that supports the kids becoming adults who spend time outdoors as well.
Yeah, it's becomes part of a tradition, a family tradition. During the last legislative session, chronic wasting disease rose to the top, and you mentioned this earlier in your comments, as something that the state really needs to address. How we address it remains a question. What is the current state of CWD in our deer population, and what needs to be done to really get it under control?
I think we're at a really critical point in terms of how we address the disease going forward. So we are at a place where we have persistent infection in southeast Minnesota. We have a case of one wild deer in Crow Wing County that was found to be infected. But it appears that the infection is still recent enough and localized enough that we can do something about it. And so I think it's really important that as the department we continue our monitoring and surveillance efforts to continue to understand where the disease is at and how prevalent it is, that we continue our work to reduce deer densities, and so we do that by working with hunters, landowners, and then in some cases we're doing targeted culling through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And then, you know, we're also working more closely with the Board of Animal Health, which is the agency that regulates captive deer facilities. That's another really important piece, that we're focusing on infection in those captive herds. And then also the research and the testing. And so working with the University of Minnesota, they receive some funding too. I think all of those pieces are really important to make sure we're positioned to do everything we can to eliminate and or contain the disease.
But movement in the right direction has happened as of late, in your view?
I believe so, and we'll see, you know, as we continue to test deer, if we're getting the results that we want, you know, to see. But I think we are doing the right things that we would expect to be able to have a fighting chance of having success.
One result of the last legislative session was money for the DNR's NonGame Wildlife program, which works to help over 700 species thrive. The program had been funded by people checking off the box on their income tax return, but now there's dedicated funds for that. What will this money be used for? I understand it's a great way for citizens to get more involved. What are some of the programs that they can get involved with?
Yeah, and so there was new LCCMR funding, Environment Trust Fund funding for the non-game program this year. And the non-game program is really a wonderful way for citizens to engage in the outdoors and with our wildlife and with the department, because they deal with so many of our iconic species, you know, bald eagles and loons, and people may be familiar with the bald eagle cam. You know, that's always fun to watch the eggs and the chicks and follow the eagle families. But some of the things with this funding specifically, we're going to be able to expand some of the work we do with citizen loon monitoring. I know we're launching a new website that actually allows people to input their observations that way and pick the areas they want to monitor. We'll be able to do new work on our frog and toad surveys, again, using citizen observations. And then some of the new things that we're going to be able to engage people with are on work on bats, and actually having people record bat vocalizations, and then we can take those recordings and analyze them, and then also insects as well. So lots of great ways for people to get involved.
And check your website for more information on that. Commissioner Strommen, I want to thank you for coming today, and I hope you'll come back again.
Thank you so much. Glad to come back.